Yeah, no doubt. Brenda, ask Brenda what she did. No doubt.
Use your name plate.
I might just do that back. As soon as Greg puts this down, I'm ready to go. For those who care to, please rise for an opening prayer and salute to our flag. Mr. Jason Mendez, would you lead us in a word of prayer, sir?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, we come tonight to conduct business for the city, Lord. We ask that you guide us, lead us. Thank you for the opportunity to meet, and just watch over us as we go through tonight. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You want that door closed? Please. Thank you. A few announcements, meeting announcements. Birthdays this week: Megan Har, or May 2nd, Cheryl K. Strong Arm Steer is May 4th, and Jared the King Keeling. Where are you, Jared? Did he leave? You think he owns the place? Anyway, Jared Keeling, he has a birthday this week, so happy birthday to him. Employee Appreciation Week is next week, May 5th through May 9th. Friday, May 9th will be the annual Employee Appreciation Lunch in Community Center from 11:30 to 1. Council members, you are invited. We won't even make you pay. Last but not least, I want to thank the Republic Boys basketball team to be here tonight. And I appreciate those of you who actually showed up on time, because I just kind of felt like you guys were at high school and just showed up right when class was getting ready to start for some of you. Some of you overachievers like Dylan, who showed up 10 minutes early to converse. Thank you. Anytime. I want to kind of give a little history before we recognize them, too. With their win, the Republic Tigers became the 4th boys team from southwestern Missouri to repeat as state champions, joining Buffalo in 1964 and 1965, Bradleyville 1967 and 1968, and along with Joplin Memorial from 1977 to 1978. So it's been a long time since we had a boys basketball team from southwest Missouri repeat. Also, Republic has now won 23 boys programs in the state to repeat championships in consecutive seasons. But the most important one is the Tigers are the first Class 4 team to win back-to-back state titles since Misha expanded to 5 classes for the 2002-2003 season. So those are wonderful accomplishments. So without further ado, I would like to recognize the team and the coaches. And if you would, I'm going to call your name. If you come and stand in front of the banner there, I would appreciate it. And not quite sure what order these are in, but we'll just start with Mr. Beckmeyer, Dylan Beckmeyer, Kenya Smith, Cody Geiger, Chase Hoffman, Dylan Ramsey, Josh Vaughn, Dakota Fortner, Jordan Kerr, Cole Hurst, Brock Yoakum, Corey Lafferty, Tim Brazil, not quite sure if the managers are here, but Zach McGill and Pedro Chan, either way. And coaches, Trevor Fisher, Dan Stander, Cale Ramsey, and one of the most important people, photographer, Mr. Charlie Bashirs. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm going to have you guys sign a basketball, if you would. That basketball will be donated again to the Republic Historical Society. Will be on display forever. We're going to have another case made for that. And sign your real name, not the ones you use at school, the ones that the kids talk to. Gentlemen, if you would spread out, some of you kneel in front, we need a couple group shouts before we go too far. You can do this.
Rumble. Let's have one more. Y'all move down now. Go on down there. Here, guys. Okay, are we going right here? Look here, guys. Right here. On this three. Get ready. Couple more.
Yeah, look at that.
One more. Right here again, last one. Ready?
They all made it too. Yeah. Don, are we going to have anyone left? I need to get one of those.
Yes, you do.
I need to charge my keyboard.
Yeah, you know, I'm not on the budget for stuff like this. It's also the
Surprise tag.
What's that run?
Anywhere from like $3.99 to $8.99, depending on the size. But if you don't plan on just want a bunch of photos, but it's a nice photo machine. I mean, you can make albums. You can just scroll through and you can do slideshows. It's got if you buy the Apple TV device, plug in your TV, you can broadcast your stuff, your videos, anything on your TV. It's pretty neat.
Well, I discovered that I've got negative polarity or something with all the electronics I have down there.
I'll put my coat on if I have to.
Well, this would be the right electronic to get because these just work.
Do what?
These just work provided you have a good router.
You logged me off.
No, stop. I was for it.
Last year, with all of the 50 year ago team here, that was.
I mean, I didn't see it. No, how did they do it?
They're scrappy.
Yeah.
Very
I
scrappy.
don't have the height, but they.
No, they don't need it. They really don't. I saw them saying it's good tool way bigger than mine. It's this way and this way.
I don't know shit.
They're fighters. They're scrappy. Yeah, I can't see
I'm looking for
somebody 16th,
Right. Daycare deal.
saying that one is maybe
It's not a different person.
5 million.
But this person's on 814 Harrison, not Alexander. And she's asking for a special use permit.
Hey, Brenda. What time does breakfast start?
Not till 10 o'clock.
All right. I'll make sure you're aware of that.
Yes. Figured I'd need one. Yeah.
Don't cry.
Hey, sit, roll over.
Get out of jail free card.
Tomorrow card.
Somehow that ball's not going to be able to make it.
Oh, come bring them all back, or you'll have to use your card, your deal.
That is just a great card.
Thanks for having me.
They're like, we're out of here.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'll catch up with you. Okay, good.
I'd give them a last big round of applause.
They're gone.
They're gone already.
Yeah, I told them that. One more time for the boys basketball state championship. Sure it doesn't roll off. It's rolling. All right, on to one other thing. We do have two elected officials that weren't here at the last meeting, and Mr. Wilson, it's good to see you back, healthy, had a little knee surgery, just a little bit. Glad to have you back, glad you're moving around well. Glad your wife can drive you without any accidents, because I know that you would probably have one. And she's shaking her head, yes, all we know that's true. So, and Mr. Mendez, glad to have you back, sir, from traveling. So, without further ado, Brenda Jackson will swear you in, both of you, so I'm not quite sure how you want to approach that, Mr. Wilson.
Right here in the front of the...
Let's go outside, down the street.
Jason, you want to come over here and we'll do it right there?
Isn't that cool?
Pictures.
Okay, if you would, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Please fill in the blank with your name. I blank
I, Jason Mendez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess all the qualifications
that
that I possess all the qualifications
prescribed for my office by law,
prescribed for my office by law,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws
the provisions of all laws
of this state
of this state
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances of the City of Republic,
and the ordinances of the City of Republic,
and that I will faithfully demean myself in office,
and that I will faithfully demean myself in office,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Next order of business, I'd like to open a public hearing concerning an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic of Missouri amending the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 30 acres owned by Mary Sue Hartman et al., located at 6518 West Farm Road 148 from agricultural AG to light industrial M1. Anyone wishing to speak for this particular public hearing? Oh, Ms. Noggle, please give us an overview, ma'am. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I saw you get up. Sorry. Please give us an overview.
You did it so well, I really probably don't even need to do this, but
No, you're fine.
the applicant has requested 30 acres approximately on 6518 West Farm Road 148, which is out in the Brookline area, Highway MM, for rezone from ag to light industrial M1.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak for this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bob Notch, and my client wishes to purchase the subject property listed here and for the development of a wholesale distribution center for beverages, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. He has entered into the company has entered into a contract for the purchase of this contingent upon the zoning change. Without the zoning change, obviously, we can't move forward with our project, so I respectfully request that you consider this and grant the zoning variance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak for this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, public hearing closed. On to the next item. I'd like to open a public hearing concerning an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic of Missouri approving a special use permit for a group daycare home owned and operated by Jennifer Richards, located at 814 East Harrison Street in Republic, Missouri. Welcome, Mr. Tyson. Give us an overview, sir.
Thank you. This will permit Ms. Jennifer Richards to operate a group daycare home from her residence, which is located at 814 East Harrison Street. What that means is she'll be able to care for up to 10 children at any given time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone wishing to speak for this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes.
My name is Jennifer Richards, and I'm going to first apologize. I'm extremely nervous. I'm not very good at talking in front of people.
Neither am I, so we're going to be fine.
I currently reside at 814 East Harrison Street here in Republic, where I currently care for children, and I've been doing it for quite some time. Back in November, I decided to become state licensed, and it's been a long process and a lot of ups and downs, a lot of hard work put into it. Hard work finally paid off, and I was issued my state license this last month. According to my state license, I can have up to 10 children, but as you all know, according to the City of Republic, I have to have a special use permit to have any children over 6 children at one time. When I became state licensed, I had to pass all fire, state, and sanitation inspections, and from now on, I will be required to pass all those inspections. They will either come announced or unannounced at any given time. I guess that's basically it. Going from 6 kids to 10 kids may not seem like a whole lot to most people, but being a single mom, it's a huge difference in my income. So anyway, thanks for your time. I guess I can answer any questions that you guys have.
We'll have time for that later, though. Thank you, though. Anyone else wishing to speak for this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, give us your best 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Jamie Tackett. Jen actually is my current babysitter. She watches both of my daughters and has for almost 2 years now. She is wonderful at it, and she honestly loves them like they're her own kids. A few weeks ago, my daughter was sick, and she wasn't there for a few days, and she was texting me and calling me throughout the day wanting to check just to make sure it was okay because she was worried about her. I'm also a teacher, and so I go long stretches without taking them, like Christmas break and summer break. I'll go a few weeks, and she won't see them, and she's constantly wanting to know how they're doing, and she misses them, and she's calling saying the kids at the daycare are also missing, and so sometimes I take them over for just a play date. And so she's wonderful at this, and I really feel like the change from 6 to 10 kids will be a big benefit to her, but at the same time, I don't think it'll really affect the majority of the people around her. I don't even think most people would notice that much of a change, because 4 additional kids is maybe 2 families, because I'm thinking most people have at least 2 children. So I just wanted to say that she's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, sign in, give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against this particular public hearing, please step forward, state your name, give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, public hearing closed. I'd like to open it up now to citizen participation. Anyone wishing to speak to anything not on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, citizen participation closed. Need a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. On the financial report, welcome, Laura. Get your exercise in the back of the room there.
I didn't realize it was going to take me so long to get up here, so.
It's all right.
Well, good evening. What I have to share with you tonight is that the sales tax for, since we received through February, did take a jump in February collection. So we're kind of gaining our way out of the negative position compared to last year. But with only 2 months, it will tend to improve. The motor fuel tax collection, they also improved with the March collection, and currently we're almost 1% over where we were last year at this time. So that's a positive note too.
Very good. Questions, comments, discussion for Ms. Guy Rice? Anything at all? Need a motion to approve financial report?
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any reports from Mr. Krischke? Anything, sir? Mr. Derrickson? No, sir. Okay. Future community events. Well, King, you missed your birthday wish. I have a card for you and everything, right here.
Thank you. That's very nice.
No, thank you. I'm not sure how old you are, sir.
Happy birthday.
We're not saying, we like you.
I crossed the mountain last year, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that 30?
No.
Sure was.
No. But thank you, that was very nice. Future community events, first of all, I do want to say we did begin work on the tennis courts today. Those are closed down as of right now. The third-party contractor will be on the job this coming Monday, May the 5th, and we anticipate having them reopened by May the 16th. So just want to get that out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. April 29th through May the 8th, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we offer Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program. This is a free event right here at the Republic Community Center. On Wednesdays, April 30th through May the 14th, we offer Senior Week Bowling. That's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. May the 2nd through May the 16th is Todd Academy at 9:30 a.m. or 10:45 a.m. That's for children ages 2 to 5. This coming Saturday is the 11th annual May Day 5K. We have a 1-mile fun run walk at 7:30, and the 5K will begin at 8 a.m. May the 5th, 12th, and 19th is Toddler Open Gym. That's for anyone ages 0 to 5 at 10 a.m. And May the 24th, the Saturday, is the opening day for the Republic Aquatic Center. We open at noon that day.
Well, thank you, sir. That was
Short.
yeah. Sir, appreciate it. Thank you. Boards, Commission, and Committee schedule: Board of Adjustments, May 1st. Capital Improvements, May 28th. City Council, May 12th and May 27th. Moved to Tuesday due to the Memorial Day weekend on the Monday. Planning and Zoning is May 19th. On to old business and tabled items. Need a motion to have the second reading of Bill number 14-09. Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending Chapter 605 Business Licenses and Regulations, Republic City Code, Article 1, Business Licenses, by amending Section 605.010, General Provisions, amending Section 605.020, Duration of Licenses, Prorating of Licenses, Fees, etc., and amending Chapter 630, Pawn Shops and Pawnbroker, Section 630.020, Licenses, K, Issuance of Pawn Shop Licenses prohibited when.
Need a motion to have final approval of Bill number 14-09. Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Brenda, give us the overview, please.
All right. This just kind of clears up a few things. First of all, in the, let me get back here. The fees, we currently prorate our business licenses 4 times a year. Going back to the old records, I found where we used to only prorate the licenses 1 time of year. The regular business license costs $50, and currently, if you purchase a business license October through December, you're only paying $12.50. So we're asking to prorate it beginning October 1st to $25. That will allow us to recoup a little bit more of the money that it costs to issue the license. We follow the same process regardless of when the license is issued, and so you can see where when we only take in $12.50, we're out of that extra money for staff time, and so we're just asking for that update. And then the second thing is, currently we have in the code a temporary seasonal business, but there isn't a fee assigned to it, so we don't actually issue it. So we would like to assign a fee to it of $25 so that we could issue seasonal businesses such as the fireworks stands and produce stands, so that they will be able to operate for 90 days. It is not renewable, just for the 90 days, and then that fee would be the $25. And then the third thing that we're asking to update is on the pawn shops. We recently had a new pawn shop open, and we found out that the way to measure the distance of a school or a church or a residence or another pawn shop was not clear, and so this just kind of clarifies that portion of the code.
Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion for Brenda? Anything at all? Fair enough. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Harrelson?
Aye.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Melton?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson? Councilmember Clinkenbeard?
Motion carries 8-0. Thank you very much. On to new business. Need a motion to have the first reading of bill number 14-11.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let's try that again. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance amending Chapter 130 Republic City Code Municipal Court, Article 1, General Provisions, Sections 130.100 and 130.190 by adding language clarifying the contempt process and providing for options for the court when fines, costs, and condition of a sentence have not been met by a defendant.
Thank you. Mr. Derrickson, give us the overview, sir.
Yes, if you'll recall, we had a discussion about use of a public defender, and one of the reasons for doing that was in situations where the judge would invoke the power to find someone in contempt of court. There's two kinds of contempt: direct contempt, which a judge can punish immediately because it happens right in the courtroom and disrupts court. The second kind is what's called indirect contempt, which is something that happens or doesn't happen in this case, where someone doesn't pay a fine, doesn't go to a school, doesn't do their community service. The judge can find someone in indirect contempt. In looking at our ordinance, we didn't really specifically spell out how that power exists. I think there's probably inherent power, but I always think it's better if we put it in black and white. And so in looking at the two sections that are involved here, what I did is look at the municipal judge's handbook as well as some statutes to try and insert language from the way the judges are taught to handle these situations, as well as some language from the statutes that address indirect contempts. And so that's what this is doing, is really just putting in language what the judge's inherent powers really are, so that there's no question if he does happen to put someone in jail, they can't come back and say, well, you didn't have authority to do it. We can directly point to this ordinance and say, yes, he did, here it is.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Derrickson? Anything at all? Seeing none, this is a first read. If you have questions or comments or need some discussion or clarification, please contact Mr. Derrickson between now and the next meeting. On the next item, I'd like to have a motion to have the first reading of bill number 14-12.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 30 acres owned by Mary Sue Hartman et al., located at 6518 West Farm Road 148, from agricultural AG to light industrial M1.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Noggle. Please give us an overview, ma'am.
Thank you. This is a request for rezone, as mentioned previously by Mr. Bob Natch, who is representing the company that he had referenced earlier. The property is located at Farm Road 148, 6518 West Farm Road 148, I should say. And to give you an idea and bearings on the location, it's across the street from Herman Lumber Company out in the Brookline area. It's approximately 30 acres, and it will be accessed by an entrance off of Highway MM. MoDOT has been contacted, and the applicant has been in conversation, and also we have had correspondence with MoDOT as well as far as the accessibility and acceptance of that particular entrance, which will be approved when the final design work is done on the building. Farm Road 148 is an area that has been discussed in great detail. The use of Farm Road 148 is not suitable for the distribution center. It would need some major upgrades. They will not be using that particular location to access their property and are under the agreement with, should in a future time that access be needed, that the developer and or business itself will be responsible for incurring the expense for repair and to keep the road up to maintenance. As far as the land uses mentioned, the property that we are talking about today is not running parallel with the adopted land use plan. However, it is consistent with the development that is taking place out there in the Brookline area with all the announcements that we have made just recently. The site is currently not served by the City of Republic, however, does have close proximity for doing so, and that will also be at the expense of the developer as well to get access and the appropriate usage or capacity, I should say, for the utility services. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve this, and with that being said, it's staff recommendation to approve this rezone as well.
Thank you, Ms. Noggle. Questions, comments, discussion for Ms. Noggle? Anything at all? You guys are quiet. We'll be like that. Seeing none, this is a first read. If you have questions, comments, discussion between now and then, please contact Ms. Noggle, the Planning and Economic Development Department. Thank you, Gail. On the next item, need a motion to have the first reading of Bill number 14-13.
Motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, approving a special use permit for a group daycare home owned and operated by Jennifer Richards, located at 814 East Harrison Street in Republic, Missouri.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Tyson. Please give us an overview, sir.
This ordinance will grant Ms. Jennifer Richards, if it's approved, it will grant her a special use permit to operate what the city calls a group daycare home, which means caring for children up to between 0 and 10 in number at any given time during the day. Here in the City of Republic, you can care for up to 6 children, and all you need is a home occupation license. But if you want to care for between 7 and 10, you must come to the City Council and request this special use permit. If you'd like to care for 11 or more, you must find a commercial location and conduct your daycare there. As Ms. Richards mentioned, the state does issue licenses for caring for up to 10 children. But like I mentioned, between 7 and 10, you still have to get the special use permit from the city. This special use permit does contain conditions. Those conditions do not include anything to do with the safety of the daycare or whether or not the caretaker is suitable to be caring for children. Those are all things that the state is responsible to handle. Rather, this permit contains conditions relating to the use of the land. This particular property is zoned R1M, which is medium density single family residential, and is surrounded by residential neighborhood on all sides. So the considerations here as far as staff is concerned are things like increased traffic volume, increased noise, increased aesthetic impact on the neighborhood, and then any potential safety concerns that might result from the increasing traffic. Other conditions that this permit contains include that it is issued to Ms. Jennifer Richards, and not to anyone else. It is issued for this location, so it does not go with her if she moves to another house. If that happens, the special use permit is no longer valid. You also see in Section 2 of the ordinance some other conditions that if she sells the property or transfers it, if she were to die, and then if she were to not renew her state license properly, not renew her business license properly, the special use permit would no longer be valid at that time either. The council, by ordinance, can impose other conditions that they think are suitable, including a time limit. This could be set to just be issued to her while she resides there and lawfully operates this daycare, or a number of years could be set, which would force her to come and apply for a renewal of this permit after so many years. That's currently not contained in the ordinance, so if council would like to do that now or at the second reading, there'd have to be a motion to do that.
Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion from Mr. Tyson? Mr. Quickenberry?
No one arrived at the public hearing tonight. It doesn't appear that anybody came to the planning and zoning one. Has there been any contact to your office regarding anything negative about this?
Nothing in opposition, no. And the Planning and I should have mentioned, the Planning and Zoning Commission did vote 5-0 to recommend approval of this ordinance.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Harder?
Gotta hesitate to bring this up. A while back, we had the same thing come up. The exact same thing. I'm kind of disturbed that the Planning and Zoning Commission didn't approve the last one, but they approved this one. And the last time this came up, it was voted down because of the use of special use permits. I just have a lot of questions in my mind why was one approved and one was not. I know they can't be answered here, but these are just comments that I've got to point out. Just concerned.
It's understood.
Nothing against the applicant or what she's trying to do. Absolutely nothing against that. We've set precedent, and we're looking at turning over precedent or not.
Well, and just to add on to what he said, you and I had talked on the previous case. There had been like 9 total permits, special use permits applied for, and it has trended that we've approved them, right?
Correct.
I mean, with the exception of 2?
Yes,
or
I
now
believe that's
3?
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
What time frame is that?
That would be as far back as we could go. I think the earliest I found was early 80s, maybe.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Poole, you had something?
Not particularly, I guess. I just think we ought to be consistent in what we do. But the last time, because P&Z turned it down, we had to have 2/3 majority. And it failed because of that. So, would she be given another chance to do this? The one that, over on Alexander?
I think that would be, if I'm not mistaken, anything that fails has a time frame to wait. I'm not quite sure what that time is. It's 90 days? I believe it's 90 days.
I was thinking it was 90 days.
According to ordinance from this council, that as a motion or as a bill fails, an ordinance fails, they can bring it back in 90 days and request it again. That's a 90-day wait time from the time it fails to the next time they bring it up. So the applicant could come back, yes.
And it was also discussed that we make our ordinance to comply with the state one, like 10 people instead of 6.
That was a follow-up, maybe come back and talk about it at some
And
point.
we haven't done that. We haven't.
Let me address that piece of it. Right now, I know we're discussing a particular piece.
I know that.
Let me discuss that real quick, just to give everybody an update, and then that'll ease your minds of where we're headed. That way you can continue asking questions about this. That particular follow-up that we had, Mr. Christie and I discussed today, we're going to bring that back. He's already got it fashioned. We just have to run it through our team to make sure that legal, make sure we're following the state statute. Everything is ready for the ordinance. We're double-checking it. And so we're going to bring it back.
Reminded.
Yes, no, ma'am. I'm fully reminded all the time. So, and we remind each other. So, yes, ma'am, that will be brought up again. But in this particular case, you're looking at a special use permit.
Thank you.
But however, that will be brought up. And I will say this, if however this one turns out, we will bring the other one back. And if that one does pass, then no special use permits will be needed up till 10. If it fails, then we continue on the same path with a special use permit. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. Now, back to this one.
Say that again, please.
Regardless of how this turns out, if the other one passes that we discussed, of going to tenant and matching the state, then we will not need special use permits.
Okay.
However, if it fails, we will still be back to where we are currently. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's
Mr. Brashears?
Yeah, we had some mention of precedence, and I really believe that a precedent is set when you have conditions, situation that are similar. And with this type of special use permit, I think you have to look at each one as an individual basis. There may be a situation because of the location of a house. In one case, it might be okay, and another one where it would not be. I think we have to consider the people that live in an area. If you remember the last one we had, there was a lot of opposition with the last special use permit that we discussed. And so far on this one, we've had no opposition. Speaking entirely for myself, I put a lot of weight on the people that live around that house, more so than I would if we had a situation where we had no opposition at all. So I really don't see a precedent being set unless all conditions were the same, and that's not going to happen.
Well, I would just ask, and I hear what you're saying, but I would just ask that we look at the conditions that apply to the use of the permit. As in the last situation, there were concerns that weren't directly impacted by the approval of the permit, such as the playground, but those were factors that were part of the decision-making as the way planning and zoning wrote it up. I would just ask that we look at that in a consistent manner to how the permit is going to be applied or what would actually impact the permit, because the playground didn't make a difference in that situation.
And you might have a house, for example, or a residence with a special use permit that's in maybe a high rent area, where maybe 80% of your residents around are rental properties. Well, chances are those rental properties, the people who live in those may not object to that as much as it would be if you had residents where the homes were owned by the people. So, I mean, every situation is so different. I don't think precedence has anything to do with it. I think it's an individual case. You have to look at that.
Mr. Wilson.
That's kind of going along with Charlie. I don't think that last one did very close to this. Last one, people were against it. There was question concerning the playground in the front yard, and there was question concerning the swimming pool back up. And we have not pursued it. But for the kids, there's that many instructions. So I don't think there's just
I might say about the special use permit that, to me, the justification for even having the special use permit is to allow council to evaluate each particular request for a special use permit, and as the two councilmen on this side have said, to determine if the circumstances warrant granting it or granting it with strings and conditions that are appropriate for that area, or just denying it if all things are the same as what has come up in the past. So kind of tend to agree with them that it's not really a precedent that you look at. It's the use and the neighborhood and whether or not there are things in there that council feels like justify granting it or denying it, or if there's a conditional grant that can be given under the circumstances.
Mr. Quickenberry.
I'm going to second Charlie and Gary on this. The previous situation, I think this is my fourth one since I've been on council. I plan on approving this one, but I've approved all but the last one, and it was quite significantly different than this particular one. And one stands out is that there was opposition from people in the neighborhood around the individual. The other thing is with the special use permit, I think the people who set it up, I know we're going to visit this in the future, trying to set the city at 10 just like the state is at 10, but they look at it in a different way. I think it's a good thing that the city has it at 6, because every one of these is a unique type situation. It allows the council to kind of have that one stopgap for maybe the one out of the 10 that come in here that is a problem. If we set ours the same as them, we never see it. They all get approved. And the one like last time, whether you agreed with it or not, doesn't get looked at all. So I like the fact that these come in and get looked at. It's obvious, I mean, no one goes to the planning and zoning, no one comes here on a public hearing, and no one's come to our offices in opposition of it. I've looked at the house, I've looked at the overheads on it, she's got a nice backyard for the kids to play in. It's a totally different situation than what we looked at prior, and I think we have to look at these on an individual basis. It's not something you really set as a precedent. Now, if you can come to me and say every single one of these is identical, that might be one thing, but it's apples and oranges on this one.
I agree with you that we should look at each one of these, but I think that we should look at things respectively to what we need to look at. Like, if they're passed by the state of Missouri, then it's up to the state of Missouri to determine whether or not they're able to provide the care with the swimming pool and with any kind of safety concerns.
The state does not go to the neighbors and ask them if they want to have a 10-kid daycare next door.
Right. But
that's why we are here.
The concerns that I heard when I walked every house in that neighborhood was that it was based on opinion. Traffic wasn't an issue. Noise wasn't an issue. It was based on opinion. Just as long as we're evaluating it fairly, I agree with you. There's certain things I see as things that we should evaluate.
It's good that we have this opportunity to look at each one. Sure. We set ours the same way. They all go through no matter what. I mean, if you've got the neighbors that don't want it, or you have a situation where it's iffy, we don't have a say in it, and the state doesn't look at it like we look at it. We're looking at it, we're representing the residents of our ward and of our subdivisions. The state doesn't represent them at all. All they're wanting to do is make sure they pass these codes for the house, make sure they're a certain code.
I hear you.
Good discussion. Additional questions, comments, or discussion? Anything at all? Very well. This is a first read. If you have questions or comments or have anything to dig into, just please contact Mr. Tyson. If you have a legal question regarding any ordinance types, areas, please contact Mr. Derrickson. Thank you, Mr. Tyson. On other business, resolution number 14-R-25, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to distribute a request for qualifications, RFQ, for insurance brokerage and advisory services. Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Krischke, give us the overview, sir.
Okay, this is not anything that's binding on City Council. It's really more of just asking for approval to go ahead and issue the RFQ. As everyone knows, because we bring it to council, we talk about it at our budget meetings. We have our city insurance, we have general liability, fire, workers' compensation, our employee health and dental and life insurance that we provide. All of these have become more and more complicated and become more and more specialized. And what we have found ourselves being in a position as staff is we go out for bid, we try to solicit all the bids ourselves, we try to evaluate all these different bids and try to determine which is the best policy for the city, and sometimes it's hard to compare when you're not always looking at apples to apples. There's a lot of changes in deductibles, different types of coverages and amounts of coverages that we have utilized over the last couple of years on the health insurance side, in particular, a broker to help us go to the market. They do the bidding for us, and they bring us back the bids and let us evaluate them, and they give us their expert opinion. So what we would like to do is go out for a request for qualifications to these brokerage and advisory services, and then look at selecting specialized brokers either one broker that may be able to handle all of our insurance needs, or it may just turn out to be that there would be individual specific brokers for each different ones, but it gives us an opportunity to evaluate brokers and get some expert opinion. And this would be, if council does approve an agreement with the brokers, it would be a 3-year agreement is what we're recommending. But this is just a first step.
Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Krischke? Anything at all? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Resolution number 14-R-26, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, concerning the appointment of the municipal judges and the municipal presiding judge, and authorizing the city administrator to take the necessary action to implement the appointments. I'd like to have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Krischke, give us the overview, sir.
Okay, this is a follow-up to our council's earlier action to appoint Judge Ryan Ricketts as the presiding judge upon the retirement of Judge Hager. Every April, on the odd year, it's required that the even year, not the odd year, on the even year election, it's required that the mayor and city council approve the new presiding commissioner for presiding municipal judge, along with any of reserves or associate judges that we would deem appropriate. We did have our candidates when we did the initial search for a new presiding judge. We used that same roster of judges to choose the new judge and the associate judges, and at this time we're coming forward with a recommendation for a 2-year appointment. The municipal judges would be Ryan Ricketts would be our presiding judge, and then the other 2 would be Christopher Bearfield and Robin McKee as our 2 associate or reserve judges. And that would be the recommendation, and they each would be for a 2-year term, renewing in 2016.
Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Krischke? Anything at all? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. On to the next item. Resolution number 14-R-27, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the execution of a contract addendum with Olson Associates to extend the termination date of an agreement for professional engineering consultation services. Let's have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Welcome, Mr. Brown. Give us the overview, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. The city currently has a contract with Olson Associates for general engineering consultation. And this really in 2 different parts. One is review of development plans, and the other primary service under this contract is what we would call day-to-day operational guidance, maybe assisting the wastewater staff or water staff, or very simple cost estimates for capital improvements. That's the general tenor of our general engineering consultation contract. Olson was selected in 2011. They had a 3-year term on that contract. The expiration date is currently June 18th this year. It is a fairly involved process to go through a selection. We do not have a local purchasing policy or a state statute which requires any specific process for the city council to follow. The selection is really at the timing and the discretion of the council. There are a lot of resources that go into a selection process, both by city staff and by the responding firms. Recognizing the amount of those resources, it was not automatic, I guess, that we entered into a selection process at the end of this contract. In order to provide the council with some guidance on how to proceed, we put together a review committee, Mr. Brashears, Ms. Harrelson, Mr. Christie, Gail Noggle, and myself, and looked at three options to proceed. Extend the current contract through August 31st and immediately begin a solicitation selection process for a new 3-year term. Simply negotiate with Olson for a successive 3-year term. And then the third option was to extend the current contract for 1 year and then issue a request for qualifications in January of 2015 with the goal of completing that selection process by June of 2015. The third approach, the 1-year extension, and go through the selection process at the beginning of the year, next year, was the recommendation that came out of our committee. The resolution 14R-27 is drawn up with that recommendation in mind. That is not a requirement that the city council follow that. If you wish to pursue another option, simply modify the resolution by a voice vote and proceed as you wish.
By an amendment. Yes, sir. Anything else, sir?
So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Oh, I do want to introduce, we have tonight representing the firm T.J. Watley. T.J. has been engineering project engineering manager on a number of our larger projects, and Mr. Watley is available to answer any questions council would like.
Thank you. Mr. Brashears, Ms. Harrelson, you were on the committee. Would you like to add anything from a council member's side through that committee?
Well, other than the extension of the contract is what we, I think, mutually suggested would be the best. That would put us in a situation of not being in such a hurried up mode right now to, put out specs and so forth for a new company or a new firm. So that's the main thing I remember from it.
Yeah, I think, the consensus was it is such a long process. We don't want to rush it. We want to give all the firms and our staff enough time to prepare something that we can feel good about.
Okay. Fair enough. Questions, comments, discussion. Mr. Mendez?
So then is the plan to take this year and do an evaluation, or what was the reasoning for the 1 year versus a 3-year? Was it that?
Well, what it does, by giving us 1 year, it gives us the option of trying to attract other firms if necessary.
Okay.
If we did 3 years, it would just be another 3-year contract extension on what we had already. Correct?
That's correct.
Is there a problem with renewing it for 3 years? They've worked for us for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
And have we got problems?
No, I think with that staff perspective, we're very satisfied with their work product.
That wasn't, our reasoning was it's not that we're not happy or there's any problems. We looked at the fact that to make the best use of city funds, we want to make sure that we give everybody the option.
In other words, you put it out for bids in a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what I was trying to understand.
If you go 3 years out of whack, 3 years, another 3, and another 3, pretty soon other firms that may be just as qualified probably aren't interested in taking the time to put together a package, so to speak, for us. If it looks like our natural reaction is always a 3-year extension of Company A.
Well, if our goal is to put that out to bid and see if we can do something in a year, then I agree. I mean, that's what I was trying to understand.
And that was one of the bigger concerns, is the fact that, as David had mentioned, it takes a lot of resources for a firm to put together a proposal, present to the city, and any firm that would like to do that, it is a cost of doing business, so it's a natural thing that they have to do. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we are, if we are going to go out for bid, that we are going to legitimately look and review all bids and consider all bids. And we just felt the one-year extension would give us the time to further evaluate our needs and, give us time to go out and make a good, legitimate effort at, an RFQ.
Thank you, that helps put context.
I will make a point, it wasn't in our discussion at any point that we were dissatisfied with those.
Correct.
That was never discussed, it was not brought up, it was not hinted at, it was not suggested.
And I didn't perceive it that way.
I just want to make it
Yeah.
clear to everyone that's what we stood on.
Mr. Clinkenberry?
Thank you.
For your extension, will they continue at the, accepting the same rate? And if we modified and went just to a 3-year extension, meaning that in the last year of this time, we would want to process over the last year, would they accept the rates if we locked them in for all 3? Would that be a benefit of taking the 3?
I can answer the first part of your question, Councilmember, and that is the rates during the extension would be the rates in effect today. I did not ask, and I don't know if TJ is prepared to answer what would happen if we were negotiating a 3-year term.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys tonight. During our original contract back in 2011, it stated in there we did have the ability to increase our rates on an annual basis just to kind of keep up with inflation.
3% a year.
3% a year from 2011 on. We ended up not doing that. We did not increase those rates. We kept them the same as they were in 2011. This amendment does have an increase just to kind of catch us up just a little bit for inflation. But as far as locking in for 3 more years, the increase that we propose here for this 1-year extension, we would lock those in for 3 more years. If that was something that you guys would like to.
Let me clarify what I said. The rates on this resolution and this contract extension, this represents where they would have been if they had implemented that 3% for the second year of that 3-year term. So I think I misstated when I said it's the rate we currently have. TJ mentioned they did not.
Basically 1 3% where you could have done, it could be 6 or 9% basically if you'd have done the 3%.
So basically you saved 2 years of rate increases. We just kept it the same throughout the 3 years.
If we went ahead and went on for the next 3, we'd basically be having the rates that are in there now and at maximum a 3% increase the following 2 years.
Well, from the increase that we show on this resolution here for this extension, we would keep that rate for 3 more years if that's the direction you wanted to go.
Mr. Bashirs?
David, could you share with council also the amount of money we spend a year with those?
Under this contract, it's not a huge amount. It changes annually, generally between $10,000 and $15,000, because it is the development review and our day-to-day stuff. As a whole, under separate, independently negotiated contracts and often separate installation processes, we've had some pretty big projects. The screw pump, I think, was
that was $300,000, I believe, was the construction cost. I recall.
Right. I mean, we've seen annual expenditures ocean in the $200,000 range. But the bulk of that are capital improvement projects where they're designing plans and specs and bid documents.
That the plan review process portion is a wash. The Planning and Development Department passes those review fees from Olson onto the applicants for development.
And also, our contract has a provision as well that the first, I believe, excuse me for not remembering off the top of my head, but I believe it's the first 10 hours you get a discounted from our original rates anyway. So for the first 10 hours a month. We service City of Republic for a long time. We value you guys as valued clients, and so we want to give you that you guys have this.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Clickenberry, go ahead.
I'm just going to throw it out there as I'm going to gauge what people's thoughts are, but I'll make a motion on the amendment changing instead of 1 year to a 3-year extension, but also adding that we do the 1-year process on that 3rd year so that we don't come up against it like we did this time.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion on that. Yeah, you can have discussion on that. Discussion on the amendment.
I'll just say they've done a great job. We can lock in these rates, and it's just a couple of year differential to me, but they save some staff time over this particular year, and we appreciate what they do for us.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the amendment, not on the resolution, but on the amendment to the resolution? Show of hands. That's not roll call. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Let's try that again with a vote of hands. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. All opposed? No. Raise your hands. Great.
This is the first.
This is the first. Been mayor since 2008 and never had to vote.
Welcome to your new year.
As much as everybody here does not hear my opinion, the only time you will hear my opinion is on a tie. So you're going to get to hear my opinion, so write it down. You don't hear this very often. The contract was put in place a long time ago to ensure that we had a competitive bid for our projects. Olson has done a fantastic job and has continued to do a fantastic job. However, at the time when we implemented the program to go out for bid, we did so with the view of let's look at not what we're doing now, what they've done in the past, but where we're going in the future. Where can we go in the future? What can they do for us? Don't tell me what you've done for the last 20 years. We appreciate it. But where can we go for the next 20 years? And Olson's done a good job of doing that. They've put that together and implemented that particular thought process. So with that said, though, however, my personal opinion is this, is that number one, next year we will not be in this situation, will we, Mr. Brock? We will not be in a 1-year extension. We will have our ducks in a row before we get there, before we have to go make a decision. This year I do not believe that we need to jump into a 3-year deal without having a request for a proposal out there. So in my opinion, and it is a tie-in vote, that I will vote no on that amendment. That amendment will die, and we're still back to the 1-year agreement. And that is the rationale that I'm going to use. You can disagree with me, that's fine, and you never hear my opinion. You got it tonight. So I'm going to make half of you mad, half of you happy. So anyway, regardless of what happens, you're going to get it. So with that said, it's not that anything against Olson. John Forrester and TJ have done a fantastic job. It's just the fact that we want to set ourselves up for the future and do the best job we can. Not just for this council, but for the future council. Not just for this mayor, but for the future mayors. So with that said, further discussion and conversation regarding the 1-year extension. Excuse me?
I said, now you have to vote on that, right?
That's correct. That is correct.
You know what would be funny?
No. You want to hear my opinion again? Further conversation, discussion. I do see all sides of it, just to let you know. Anything at all? Before I take the vote, I just want to let you know, it is rather ironic that the engineering services came to a tie again on an amendment because it happened in 2008 in this very room while I'm sitting right over there right before becoming mayor. I'm going to tell you, Mr. Collins, Mayor Collins at the time, had to break that vote, did he not?
Correct.
He had to break that vote. So just giving you that heads up, it's obviously we're going to do another 6 years. So whoever mayor in 6 years will probably have the same problem. Further discussion, conversation, or comments? You are voting on a 1-year extension, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries 8-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Executive, you got it? With that said, need a motion to adjourn.
motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, council. Thank you for those in the audience that listened to us today.